In this session today, you will find a number of resources, information, inspiration as regards the Canada, apologies, as regards Portugal Digital Nomad Visa. That's our focus in
In this
today's
session today, you will
edition.
find a number of.
That's our focus today in this edition of Emigrate Open Day. You'll learn about the pathway. You'll learn about different things that you could do to optimize your chances as a talent for you to be able to use this pathway as a step to going global. Or maybe if you're looking at that country, Portugal, as your final destination, you would be able to find a lot of details, a lot of information that would be absolutely useful for you. This is Emigrate Open Day. And on the Emigrate platform, we focus on various pathways for you to become globally attractive. We help you become a globally attractive talent. That's our focus on the Emigrate platform. And we do that by helping you discover different pathways that you can use for talent mobility, for relocation, for settlement. At the moment, we are focused on tech talent routes on the Emigrate platform. However, if you've not done anything in the field of technology before, you are still welcome to the room because there is room to grow. And within 3 months, sometimes 6 months, you can actually start your journey in the field of technology. And if you're already an expert in the room, you've already done a lot in the field of technology, this session is for you because it's possible based on how much you earn, based on the kind of work that you do, it's possible that you qualify already for this pathway we are discussing today. If you are intermediate, this is still for you because as an intermediate person in the field, you can learn how to shape your journey towards qualifying for different tech talent visa pathways, including the Portugal Digital Nomad Visa. And so you're welcome. This is going to be a minimum of, in terms of the number of hours for today's session, it's going to be a minimum of 1 hour, 30 minutes. Usually may tend even up to 2 hours, but I promise you that it is informative. I promise you that there's a lot that we will be sharing. Our coach is gearing to share a lot as regards his own journey, things that you can learn from him, things that he has learned a lot more on, haven't taken the journey recently himself, and still on that journey of being globally attractive and ploughing his trade away from his own country, now doing so in Portugal using the Portugal Digital Nomad Visa. You're welcome. It's a networking session as well. So if you are watching the replay video, you can drop your details in the chat. You never know. You may meet somebody else that is interested in your profile. But if you are here live, you can do that right away. Share your LinkedIn, share where you're joining us from, share what are your interests, what are some key takeaways you're hoping for from today's session, and others in the room will be able to interact and with you. You never know. You may meet your future employee in the chat. You may meet your future co-founder. You may meet your future employer. You may meet your future partners in the chats within the Emigrate community. Because what we built is a community of thriving talents who themselves are already globally attractive or definitely on their way to being globally attractive. And so you are in the right network, you're in the right community, and thank you for joining us. Just to confirm, please let me know if you can see my screen and let me know that you can hear me by just dropping something in the chat. You can introduce yourself, you can just say yes, but do let me know that you are here. Also, because we won't be able to share our slides after, you may want to pay attention and be present in the session today. We also have a gift for you. If you actually wait till the end of this session or you watch this replay video till the end, we have a gift for you. And we will tell you the gift towards the end of the session. And so you don't want to miss that also. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today, we are exploring the Portugal Digital Nomad Visa as a step to go global. And our coach, Seunfunmi Adegoke, is already in the room. And we do have our resident coach, which is Emigrate AI, already available to you, available on multiple platforms. On the App Store, you can download the app. On the Play Store, you can download the app. It's available on the web. And we are launching the WhatsApp bot and Telegram bot, all helping you to go global, all helping you to become a globally attractive talent. Welcome, 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 welcome. Today's session, we will start with a few minutes of me sharing about Emigrate, what Emigrate is, what Emigrate is not. We'll share a little bit about that, and then we'll segue into our coaches session where he will be taking you through a journey of his journey, and he will be sharing a lot of tips along the line. These are tips that you probably won't be able to Google because he's sharing from his own personal experience. I must say, this is not immigration advice. This is not legal advice. This is us sharing from experience, from information available to us, coaching, handholding, and inspiring others to be able to take their own journey of becoming globally attractive. And I'll share a bit more around that. We also do have a number of resources available to you. And if you haven't done so already, where you want to start your journey is with the Emigrate Tech Visa app. While watching this or while on this call right now, you can download the app because the app is your companion, it's your guide through these complex in some cases, not too complex in some cases, but through this journey towards talent mobility, relocation, and settlement. Emigrate Tech Visa app is your one-stop that has everything you need: fine-tuned AI agents, fine-tuned AI assistants, human expert coaches, resources, checklists, information, everything that you need towards your journey to be globally attractive is in one spot, and that is the Emigrate Tech Visa app. That's where you want to start. In fact, a number of our offerings are delivered directly through that platform. We will also be talking about the Settle in the UK package. And if you wait till the end, as I said, if you stay on this session till the end, we do have a special gift for you. Emigrate Open Day replay videos are available directly on the Emigrate Tech Visa app. And so these are some of the things you can get access to by using the Emigrate Tech Visa app. What am I talking about? It's that a number of coaches have come on this platform and they've shared a lot of information. They've shared about their journey. They've shared their own unique insight. They've talked to you from their own unique perspective of how they did it, and in some cases, how they've helped others to do it, both on the Emigrate platform and in other places, and how you can leverage these different visa pathways. Not just the Portugal Digital Nomad Visa that we are talking about today, but the UK Global Talent Visa, the US O1 Visa, Australian National Innovation Visa, French Tech Visa, Canada Startup Visa, you name it, Hong Kong. There are several countries in the world that have made different talent-based visas available for you to be able to explore. And this is what the Emigrate platform helps you to explore, to exploit for your own benefit as a talent, removing all the blockers, helping you to make the world actually borderless because you are a talent. And that's what the Emigrate platform will help you do. We have this package for the UK that is still available. And it's called the Settle in the UK as a Tech Talent. If you're an absolute beginner, never done anything in the field of technology before, this package is designed for you. If you are already in the field of technology, you're already an expert professional, even better because your journey may even be shorter. And finally, if you're a startup founder or you are an employee in a startup, this journey would even be much shorter for you. And it's the Settle in the UK as a Tech Talent route on the Emigrate platform. It allows you to move with your spouse and dependent. It allows you to switch visas. So if you're already in the UK looking for an option to switch visa, this is a pathway you may want to explore. If you're looking for a pathway to settlement, this is a pathway you may want to explore. And however, you need time and equity investment for you to be able to explore this package, you need a minimum of 3 to 6 months minimum to be able to explore this package as a pathway to relocation and or settlement in the UK. And of course, you do need a bit of monetary investment as well if you are looking at this package. And so if you're interested in that, you can send us a WhatsApp message or you can request for that package on the Emigrate Tech Visa platform. What is Emigrate? What we do on the Emigrate platform is to help you become globally attractive. And I know, yes, a number of us are in the room today because you're interested in one visa pathway or the other. You're interested in pathways to settlement and so on. But that's not our main objective as the Emigrate platform. The visas are a side effect of a bigger objective. And that bigger objective is be globally attractive. If you are globally attractive, you have options. You have options of staying in your own country and contributing within your local economy. You have options of staying in your own country and contributing globally, working remotely in different parts of the world. You have options of deciding that, oh, for any reason, economic or otherwise, to say you want to move to any part of the world, and those parts of the world will be open to you. And the reason is this. The world have realized that the battle right now is for talents such as yourself. And so many forward-thinking economies of the world have made different visa pathways available for talents to be able to move, relocate, and settle in their jurisdiction. They are not doing you a favor. They've made these pathways available because they need you. They want you to bring your ideas. They want you to bring your taxes. They want you to bring your innovation. They want you to bring all of these things into their jurisdiction because they know net they are better off. Many of these pathways will allow you to move with your dependents because they've calculated the economic cost of even you coming with your dependent, and they know that they will make a lot more from you in the short run sometimes, but definitely in the long run because you are a talent. You are not a burden onto their system. You're actually helping their system. And so they've made these pathways available because you're a talent. And these are some of the pathways that we support you on the Emigrate Tech Visa platform. And when we talk about talent, it could be in two key ways. It could be you yourself as your tech profile, or it could be your tech-enabled business. In the practical sense, our Emigrate services will cover things like information, general inquiry, coaching and handholding, preliminary assessment, do I already qualify, helping you build a plan towards qualification if you do not yet qualify, self-directed roadmap to say, now that I have a plan, how do I make sure I qualify within the shortest possible time, but also being able to support your journey towards being globally attractive. The journey does not end at the point when you get the visa, and our coach today will be sharing a lot more along some of the things he had to navigate in a new economy. The journey continues because ultimately you're also looking at pathways for integrating into this new society. You're looking at pathways to settlement in this new society. And this is the one platform that helps you for this entire journey. There are 4 key ways in which we help on the Emigrate platform in terms of options. And we start with free because over 80% of what we do on the platform are free. And then we have premium options as well. On our premium options, you can have the do it yourself with a subscription. You can have the do it with me or the do it for me. But I will start with the free to say on the free side, you would get access to a number of our free resources on the Emigrate Tech Visa platform. The app is where you want to start. You'll get access to information, inspiration. You get access to community events such as these ones. You get access to the Emigrate community where you can discuss with other like-minded people and also coaches within the Emigrate platform. You get access to introductory videos. You get access to a number of open coaching sessions. You get access to visa-specific office hours, pre-evaluation, self-assessment, and a number of others. And you could also get access to a one-to-one session with an Emigrate coach, which is typically premium. On the premium side, you have access to the Emigrate Circle, you have access to personalized coaching and several packages, both some custom, some premium, that have been designed to help you. Designed to help you whether you choose to do a do-it-yourself approach, say already, I would like to do this myself, or you're looking at a do it with me approach, or you're looking at a do it for me approach to helping your journey towards relocation and settlement. All of these are available on the Emigrate Tech Visa platform. Practically, we have a number of packages on the platform, including move to the UK as a global talent, focused on the UK Global Talent Visa, Technician Visa. We have the move to the UK as an innovator founder. We have the move to UK as a global talent, to move to the US as a global talent. This is focused on the O1 route and the EB2 NIW EB1 route. We have the move to Canada as a startup founder and several other pathways that are available. We have in the UK self-sponsorship route. We have in the UK the settle in the UK route that targets 3 visas at the same time with the Emigrate Triple Guarantee. And so, as you can see, several packages, all of them geared towards helping you be globally attractive. In terms of our pricing, as I said, over 80% of what we do on the platform is free. And so we encourage you to take advantage and take access to all of these that are available to you today, both for free or at a premium. But then if you need a bit more support, you can get access to short coaching session, some of the basic AI, all of that free. But then if you're looking for personalized coaching, if you're looking for the premium AI agent, we've fine-tuned AI agents on different pathways. So with the Technician Visa UK, we fine-tune based on different rejections and so on in the UK Global Talent Visa. And you get access to all of these agents that can help your journey. You get access to strategic coaching sessions. You get access to premium sessions, group sessions. You get access to ongoing support and holding, access to end-to-end logistics, and several others available to help your journey towards relocation and settlement. And so if you're wondering, where do I start? There's a lot that Badi has talked about so far. Where you want to start is to get the Emigrate Tech Visa app, because with this app, it will help your journey towards being globally attractive. And it's time for us to hear from our coach. The last point I will make is that we've talked about several different visa pathways at this point. There is a lowest common denominator across all of these different visa pathways. And that lowest common denominator is be globally attractive. If you are globally attractive, you have options. And those options are some of the ones we share with you on these Emigrate Tech Visa platform and also on the Emigrate Open Day. And then if your question is, how do I become globally attractive? You've come to the right place, because these are some of the information we share on this platform. I need to mention again, this is not legal advice. This is not immigration advice. This is not tax advice. This is us sharing from our experience. On the Emigrate platform, we provide information, we provide insight, guidance, coaching, mentoring, support, and holding, and a lot more on the platform, but we do not provide legal advice or immigration advice directly. We do have connections and networks to lawyers and immigration consultants that we can refer you to if your case requires them. But in many cases, many clients and a lot of successes that we've had also on this platform, sometimes you don't need the lawyers, except your case is complex. What you need is the right information at the right time, the right coaching, the right handholding, and so on. And these are some of the things that we provide on the Emigrate platform in a way that helps you now up to the point when you are absolute beginner, to the point when you are planning and building a roadmap for yourself, to the point when you qualify, to the point when you apply for endorsement, to the point when you relocate to this new economy, to the point when you integrate into this new economy, to the point when you settle in this new economy. And if you are looking at options of what they call reverse migration, which is really just migration by itself, moving to a third country or moving back to your own country at a higher level, all of these you get support on. All of these you get coaching on the Emigrate Tech Visa platform. But enough from me for now. We would like to invite our coach for today, Seunfunmi, on stage. Seunfunmi is going to be sharing as regards his own journey towards being globally attractive. He will be sharing as regards his journey for the Portugal Digital Nomad Visa. He would be sharing from his experience, and he will be sharing to support you and other members of the emigrate community if you are taking a journey towards being globally attractive. Thank you. Seunfunmi, over to you.
Yeah, hi, buddy. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Hi, everyone. Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, wherever you might be in the world. My name is Seunfunmi Adegoke. I hope I'm very audible, please.
Very audible. We hear you
Oh,
loud.
perfect. So, my name is Seunfunmi Adegoke, and today I was speaking about moving to Portugal, right, as a digital nomad, about my application, my career path in itself, and then moving to Portugal, living in Portugal, and then my entire experience, mostly or all of it will be my personal experience. So a little bit about myself is I'm a software engineer. I build okay. Yeah, so I build applications for mostly on the back end side of things. I also recently, or would I say, past 3 years actually, I've been doing work in generative AI. So before it became really interesting or really cool for everyone to jump on it, like I like to say, I've been doing some work in generative AI, building applications, integrating LLMs, building production ready AI applications, right? So my career in tech is a little bit different. It's that I'm self-taught. I have a background in petroleum engineering, and then by the time I was in year 4, I started writing some code, doing some data science, and then I found my way into backend engineering, which I found a lot more interesting as opposed to data science in itself. And then when I started, I basically could not stop. It was really interesting. The logic of it all was really interesting. And I just kept at it. And the interesting thing is, I think software engineering for me showed me one very important thing, which was that consistency really pays. Because if you start something, you put effort into it, you put 3 months, you put 6 months, you put a year of consistent daily effort into it. You're very sure that you'd get something really good from it. And software engineering in such that it's a no barrier field. There is no requirement for a first degree in computer science. So once you have your mindset on it, you have some learning resources, you have some mentorship or some handholding, you're mostly good to go. Right. So that was basically my journey. And now currently I work between two parts of tech, right? Backend and then also generative AI. So you will call me what people say is an AI engineer, right? But it's just also software engineering in itself. So that's mostly my journey has been or being a software engineer. And then I would move on to something a little bit more interesting, which is more about why we are here today, which is about the digital nomad visa for Portugal. So I would answer one question first. Why Portugal? For me, Portugal was not on my horizon at all, right? Initially, I had planned to apply for the UK Global Talent Visa on the exceptional promise pathway, which is like the UK Global Talent or Technician Visa. And I had built my application, my portfolio, and then I had applied, and then I got the response from Global Talent or Technician itself, sorry, that I did not get the endorsement. And then I appealed, and then I got the response that, oh, your appeal was not also successful. So in that, I was gearing to build my profile once more and apply again, right? I mean, you try once, you fail, you try again, right? Because the idea is, as a global person or as a software engineer, your idea is you move from one market to the other, you have more opportunities. You move from a country like Nigeria where you have some opportunities, and then you move to the European market, you have more opportunities. You have access to more funding if you want to found a startup. You have access to better payments if you have a job. You also have access to other countries of the world once you move to Europe, right? So I was gearing to apply again for technician for the second time, and then something really odd happened, or rather interesting. My brother traveled to Portugal for a bit, And then he called me and said, he's in Portugal. Portugal is really nice. The weather is great. Everything is really beautiful. People are really friendly. And then he had some friends there and he was like, they have this visa they all applied for, that I should give this visa a shot to write. So very interesting was that the day I heard about the visa and I spoke to his friends about it was the exact same day I paid for my visa appointment. So I was already planning to relocate to the UK, and then a chance to try Portugal came, and I was already prepared for the UK. I just said, let me try and apply for this instead. On the exact same day, I went online to VFS, which is where you apply for the appointment, and then I applied, and then I got my appointment for 2 weeks time. And all I had to do was get my documents ready and go for my application itself. So one might ask, what really prompted my move for Portugal? My answer is basically the same thing. You're in one part of the world, you've gotten opportunities from that part of the world. I can draw a simple analogy for you as a Nigerian. Let's say, for example, you stay in Ondo State. You were born, bred in Ondo State, or you were born and bred in Kogi State, or born and bred in Borno State or somewhere. And then you took one trip to Lagos. You would see how things are done there. You are like very blown away. Okay, this is Lagos. There is a lot more money, more opportunities. You have more businesses moving, right? So take that exact same view and extrapolate it. If you can get that much exposure and access to opportunities in Lagos, imagine if you move to a city like London, or you move to Hong Kong, or you move to San Francisco, or you move to Berlin, or you move to Lisbon, or you move to even Nairobi, Kenya, for example. You would realize that you would have more opportunities in those countries, access to more job opportunities, a wider network, access to more funding if you also have a startup, right? So what I did after was to go for my appointment, and I applied for the D8 visa, not the D7 visa. So Portugal has two types of visas for digital nomads, if I would say. The first one is the D7 visa, which is called the passive income visa. Initially, all digital nomads in Portugal came on the D7 visa. Then, about 3 years ago, Portugal created the D8 visa out of the D7 visa. So, D7 now is strictly for passive income earners, and then the D8 visa is for digital nomads. So, in my case, I was applying for the D8 visa. The requirements for the D8 visa is quite straightforward, if you ask me. The most important thing being that you work for a company outside of Portugal, and then you can prove your income. As Badi already said, he mentioned that the idea is they want to bring global talents into their country. They've done the maths, they've seen that bringing you in is a net positive. No one is doing you a favor by bringing you into their country. You are a net contributor to their economy. You come with your family, you come with your money, you come with your job, you pay taxes in their country. So it's more of a net benefit for the country itself. You bring innovation, you bring ideas to build products, you improve their tech ecosystem, right? So that was the idea behind the D8 visa. If you're an engineer that comes to Portugal, you bring your technical know-how, you bring your money, you bring your business if you also have a business, and they contribute to their economy or to the economy of the country you're currently moving to. So back to the application phase, I took all my documents, which you can pretty much find online on VFS website, but I could give you a run through of it. It's your earnings for 3 months, your payslip for 3 months, your bank statement for 3 months, your visa, your insurance document for travel. You also have your booking information for hotel or your accommodation. You also have your police report for like your criminal record check report, and your letter from your employer, and then your work contract. So if you already have a job that is currently around that particular range you're looking for, which is actually currently 4 times the Portuguese minimum wage, once you earn around that value, you can apply for the visa itself. But I would like to make a note that there are other factors if you want to bring a dependent into the country, let's say your kids and your wife, there's a requirement to earn a little bit more than that. I'm not very sure of the value, but I think it's 50% extra on the minimum wage for a wife and 30% for each kid. So I would share something really important for this D8 visa, which you don't really find online. It's that if you're applying from Nigeria, they don't require you to have a Portuguese tax ID, at least from my experience. If you're applying from the US, you need to get a Portuguese tax ID. From Nigeria, you don't. If you're applying from Nigeria, you also don't need to get a housing contract. As far, all you need is hotel booking for a short while, and then when your visa is granted, you then can travel and then sort out your accommodation from there. So I've spoken about the digital nomad path, which is the D8 visa, and then also the D7, which is the passive income visa. Also, the D8 visa is split into two. You have the long term and then the short term visa. The long term visa gives you first a 4 month visa that gives you access to come to Portugal, and then you apply for your residence card, and then that long-term visa gives you a pathway to citizenship, right? You get your 2 years card, then you get the next 3 years, and then currently under Portugal's law, which has not changed as at today, after 5 years of legally residing in Portugal and satisfying all conditions, you can apply for your citizenship in Portugal. On the second route being the short-term visa, they give you a 1 year visa. You don't have access to your residence card. And then with that visa, you come to Portugal and live in Portugal. And after a year, you can choose to renew or not. I think you also need to go back to your home country to reapply for a new visa, but I'm not very sure of that. Then for the D7 visa is a passive income visa. If you earn passive income, which is just the Portuguese minimum wage every month, and you can show proof of funds and earnings, you would also get that visa. But for my experience, I came in as a digital nomad to Portugal, so I'll be speaking about the D8 visa. So overall, I've gone through the my journey into tech, applying for the visa and getting it. For my application, the visa took 6 weeks to get to me. When I applied, I got a response in 6 weeks with a stamp. And it was pretty quick because, for example, I had heard from a friend that Spain would take 6 months, right? Or Germany's opportunity card would take 9 months or 6 months. Portugal, in my opinion, is faster. Also, my friends have applied and then they've also gotten theirs in 6 weeks. 6 weeks, some even 3 weeks. The only caveat is if you apply in August, you would get a longer response because the embassy goes on holiday during August. That's the only time I've noticed where it took more time than expected to get a response from the embassy. The extra thing for Portugal is that you don't find online is whenever you apply for a visa and you are rejected, the embassy gives you a chance to appeal. They give you 10 working days to appeal and send them a new document or something, and then they give you the visa. Most other countries sometimes would give you a direct denial or a direct rejection. Portugal would always give you access to actually get an appeal, and then you send your new information that they require, and then most of the time.
Yep. You went on mute, Seunfunmi, just to mention.
Oh, sorry about that.
Okay.
Yeah. So what I was saying again was Portugal gives you a response. If it's a rejection, they give you access to appeal, and then you must respond in 10 business days. And then most of the time, if you appeal and it's a really good appeal, you also get a response from them that your visa has been granted. So the case for me was I applied once and then I got a response, and then my visa came, and then I started planning my trip to Portugal itself, which was really interesting for me. So I'm done with the application phase. I'm done. I've gotten my visa. Now is more about moving to Portugal itself. So Portugal is a little bit distinct in the fact that they don't give you a residence card immediately your visa is granted. What they give you is a visa that gives you access to travel to Portugal, right? So do you have a 4-month visa for the long-term application or long-term digital nomad visa? And then you come to Portugal and then you apply for your residence card in the country, right? As opposed to other countries that give you a card immediately your visa is granted. Portugal, you have to come into the country and then fully regularize your stay in Portugal. So that means if you're coming, you still have to apply for a residence card in the country, right? And for that, you need a list of documents that the country requires you to actually have. So I will be talking more now about navigating, landing in Portugal itself, and then getting ready for your appointment. So an extra information is that currently as it stands, Portugal has a sort of immigration backlog. So currently the system is a bit overwhelmed with people coming in. So things are slower than expected. So the first challenge that I had when I moved to Portugal was that for my residence card appointment, I wasn't given an appointment. Typically, it's meant to come with your visa, but in my case, apparently the system was really slow and very overwhelmed. They could not find an appointment for me. And then the same was also the case for some of my friends too. So that's the first thing that I discovered about immigrating to Portugal, right? Because of the current amount of people in the system or trying to apply for different types of visas, they currently have a backlog of people. So I had to come to the country and then get my appointment myself. So you either have to use a lawyer and start a legal proceeding, or you need to write a formal complaint to the Complaints Commission and then get an appointment through that. So what I did was write a formal complaint and then I got my appointment for my residence card. So the build up to that now is you need some documents to prepare you for your residence appointment application. The first thing is you need your tax ID. As I mentioned before, for Nigerians applying to Portugal, you don't require a tax ID when you apply for your visa. So when you come into the country, you need to get your tax ID. For this, you need to go to the tax office, book an appointment, and get your tax ID. After that, you need to also apply for your social security, which requires a list of documents. You need your work contract you used to apply before for your visa. You need to add your visa documents. You need to add your tax ID, and then you need to apply for your social security number. The next thing is also as regards accommodation. You also need to get an accommodation contract in Portugal, and the law states that it should be nothing less than 1 year. So if you're moving to Portugal, you must get at least a 1 year contract or more. If it's less than 1 year, it is seen as short-term housing, but 1 year or more is seen as the required contract you need for your housing, that you would also need to apply for your residence card. So as I said again, Portugal doesn't give you the residence card when your visa is out. You need to come into the country and apply again. So those three documents and then your police character and then a list of other ones are those things you would need to use to apply for your residence card. Bearing in mind that, for example, my case, I got in and I got my appointment a month after, for 5 months into the year. So because of the system being overwhelmed, it took me 5 months to do my appointment for my residence card itself. It took 5 months, yes. I will speak a little bit more about this as I go on in the session. So the next thing is that for Portugal is, since you've already shown proof of funds for your visa, the government expects that when you come in, it's the money you would first use to settle in, pay for your rent, pay for your utilities, and then get your card, and then you can continue working for your company outside of Portugal, or you can use the card to work for a company in Portugal. So, if I can remember correctly, but you still need to verify online, Portugal has a very interesting part for the residence card. For Spain's digital nomad visa, the card gives you access to only earn nothing more than 20% of your income in Spain. That's the digital nomad residence permit. But for Portugal, Once your permit has been given to you, in the case where you lose your foreign job and you need to find something in the country, the card gives you access to work in Portugal, which is the separating factor between Portugal's digital nomad visa and Spain's digital nomad visa. Should the case happen that after your card has been gotten, you lose your job, your company lays you off, it is not on you that compulsorily you must find a new foreign job. If you can find something in the country with that same card, you can work in Portugal. If you decide that you don't want to work as a software engineer anymore, you want to start a business, you can start a business with the card. You can start any kind of business. That's the very interesting part that I discovered when I moved here. You could have had a passion in maybe culinary arts or trying to open a restaurant, and you're like, oh, yeah, I'm done with software engineering. Let me move into my passion, which is cooking. The card gives you access to work. You will start your cooking business, you will sell food, and the card gives you access to take care of that too. Then you can go ahead to regularize your stay. But never is it the case that because you lost your job, you need to leave the country. No. And second thing is that your visa is giving your card, your first card is given to you based on your visa, but subsequent cards don't depend on your visa anymore. So if you come as a digital nomad to Portugal and you've gotten your first card, after 2 years, they don't check if you have a foreign job again. They check if you have a job, if you have a business that makes money, if you've been paying your taxes properly, if you've been paying your social security contribution properly. And that is what they use to renew your residence permit. I find it really interesting because Spain would not do that as far as I read on the internet, and I had to do some research about it. So, because when I got to Portugal, I was also looking at Spain as an option for myself too. So, an extra part from my experience was, as I mentioned before, with my analogy, you were living in Ondo State and then now you've moved to Lagos. You've seen that there are a lot more opportunities. The same was my case leaving Nigeria to come to Portugal. It was it was simple that there were always more jobs. Recruiters are always in your DMs every time asking you to apply for a job. In Nigeria, the case is you have to do more work to get a job in a foreign company. In Portugal, once you change your location, you have access to more opportunities. They're always in your DMs. You have easier interviews, you have more interviews as compared to if you are in Nigeria. So the case for me and then for most people is that we realized that apparently we were all global talents to start with all along the way, right? The problem was just the market itself, and then the market we moved to, the market I moved to, had more jobs, and there was a huge demand for software engineering. So every day, sometimes 2 times a day, someone is reaching out to you. At some point, you're exhausted. You're like, I really have a job already. I'm not searching. Then you politely say, oh, I thank you for reaching out. I'm not searching currently. And sometimes you just don't reply them because sometimes the messages become a lot. And then sometimes your friend would also put on his profile, currently not job searching, because they reach out to you a lot for these kinds of jobs, right? The second thing for me was the tech ecosystem in Portugal. They have lots of companies in Portugal. So access to going to these companies was easy. There's always one event every week where you get to meet the CTO of a large company. It's really a small event, 30 people. You would always see the CTO of a large company in the meeting. I was at one around, let's say, 2 months ago, was like a 30-person event. And then this guy was a VP of Katawiki and he was there. It was a whole event. And I was like, if you're looking for a job, you speak to them, send your CV, better access to getting a job. Cloudflare also is in Portugal. They have events every time. You see everyone that runs the Cloudflare office in Portugal. So for me, it was that the companies that are making changes in the world, they are all in the country and they have access to them. They have events every week. You just go and walk in and then you see everybody. So even if the case happens that you lose your job, you can build a very big network immediately. If you have a startup that you're trying to run and you need Cloudflare credits, once you walk into the meeting and speak to the engineering guy, oh, I need this, he can then say, oh, send a mail to this, we'll sort it out for you, as compared to applying from the internet. So second thing was that moving to Portugal, I was able to expand my network. You meet a lot more people doing the same thing that you do across global companies. So overall for me, it's been really positive, right? It's been a really life-changing experience. And then extra thing I would like to mention is because I'm from Nigeria, Portugal's weather is really good, right? It's really warm during summer. It's even sometimes worse than Nigeria in terms of it. It depends on where you live. If you're in Lagos and you come to Portugal during summer, you are going to complain about the heat in Portugal. The heat during this summer, we had temperatures as high as 45, which is really extreme, right? But compared to other European countries, you get to enjoy the summer because there's lots of sunlight. And then the winters are also not brutal. It doesn't snow in Lisbon. So you are just going to take care of rain and then lots of wind as compared to moving to, let's say, a colder country, right? So moving with the weather was also a great decision for me, right? Because I did not have to change so much to adjust to winter, right? You hear people in the UK complain that UK is very grey, is oh, it rains so much. In Portugal, it's the reverse. It is always sunny. Even during winter, the sun would still shine. I think it's the sunniest city in Europe, by the way. Lisbon is the sunniest city in Europe. So that was also what I also discovered. An extra notice for people that come with family, it's very family oriented, right? Think of Nigeria and how families are. Portuguese people are also very family oriented. People are always going to meet their family. You'd speak to a friend, oh, I'm traveling down south with my family for vacation. And it's always a large family, right? So if you want to have a family in Portugal, I would say it's a very family oriented country, right? Everyone is really family oriented. So it's a great place to also have kids. The next one is that they are also really friendly. So I could give an example when I got to Portugal. My first day in Portugal, I knew no one, right? I mentioned to you guys before that I heard about the visa and I applied. So sincerely, I did not prepare well enough for the country. I did almost no research. I just took my luggage and I traveled. So I knew nothing about the system. A lady was by a old woman, another woman was by the road. She just helped me with my luggage and walked with me and found my accommodation for me. And she disappeared. And it was really great to see, right? The other thing I noticed is that, I mean, for me, when you come to Portugal, you see people of your skin color, right? Sometimes immigration is beyond looking for opportunities. You also want to see people that have the same skin color as you, so you don't feel out of place. In my experience, I've traveled to a good number of Portuguese cities. You would always see black people. At least you would always see. In Lisbon, you would see lots of black people. You don't feel out of place. So that was also a positive for me because everywhere I turn, I see someone that looks like me. I don't feel out of place. It was also really, really great for me. So overall, that has been my experience in the country. And then I'll move about, I think in my talk now, I've mentioned all the pros about Portugal, family oriented, about the weather being great, about the people being friendly, about the tech ecosystem in Portugal, which is really growing right now. You have Ernst and Young, you have PagerDuty, you have Katawiki, you have Cloudflare, you have OutSystems, you have lots of consulting companies, you have Google also has an office, or Microsoft, yes. Then you have some other companies that are also building their own Port or Lisbon branch, right? So I just saw someone's question about the language barrier. Language barrier will be in two places for me. The first thing is that in Lisbon, people typically speak English. Some people don't speak English. Then that would be the con, which I would explain a little bit more of. But
Yeah.
most of the time in
I'll say,
Lisbon,
don't take the questions yet. Just continue with your thoughts so you flow, and then
oh,
we'll compile all the questions because we have questions from the community,
oh,
from the
that's
moderators, and then I'll just say to the audience again, if you have questions, please drop it in the chat, or if you're watching the replay video, drop your questions in the comment. One of the community managers will get the answer to your question as quickly as possible. But do drop your questions in the chat if you're joining us live, as Seunfunmi continues his amazing session. I've learned a lot so far, and please just continue the flow.
Thank you very much. So as I mentioned, the ecosystem in the country is really good for engineering talent. Companies are always opening up branches. So what they do is they have a branch in Germany. Because of the time zone, because of Lisbon's time zone, it's at a sweet spot between the US and Europe or Asia. It is a good time to the US, 5 hours, 6 hours to the US, or five, and also pretty good to Asia. So if you have companies, if you have, let's say, your company has teammates in the US, you can always have meetings with them. If you also have your company with colleagues in Asia, you also have meetings with them. So because Portugal is at that good time zone, you have lots of companies in Portugal. I mentioned already Cloudflare, Katawiki. I can't remember some, but even newer ones are also opening up branches in Portugal, right? So if you're thinking of moving to Portugal as a tech talent, more companies are coming into the country to open up offices, open up European offices, open up something in Lisbon, right? So I would go a little bit deeper into navigating my first day to like my first 100 days in Portugal. So as I mentioned before, I came to Portugal knowing no one, right? So what I'll give you is the pure undiluted experience of someone who went through the system from beginning to the end. As I mentioned, due to the immigration issue, there was no appointment for my residence card. I had to get a petition, write one myself, and then request for an appointment. I got one after a month of being in Portugal, right? But other people had to use lawyers, and you have to pay a lawyer some money. The lawyer will then go and then file a complaint and start a lawsuit, and then the judge will rule about your lawsuit, and then the judge would then rule in your favor and then compel the immigration agency, which is currently AIMA, to give you an appointment for your residence card. For me, I did the online petition and I was able to get one. I got one in February for May. So I had around 4 or 5 months to prepare for my appointment. The next thing I observed or I went through was getting accommodation. Currently in Lisbon, rent is expensive, right? Portugal, it was seen as a cheap country before, but with the influx of lots of people, immigrants from all around the world, with also the country opening up to tourism, rent is more expensive. And then getting a place for myself was pretty difficult, a permanent place. Second issue was because you have foreign income, which is with this part is really, really interesting. You won't find it online. Maybe if you search really deep into Reddit. Because you have foreign income, the landlords typically require you to bring, okay, for every house you want to rent, you introduce yourself. They require you to bring your tax returns for last year, and then they require you to bring your 3 months pay slip and your 3 months bank statement. But because you have foreign income, there's no way they can verify your pay slip. The truth is, they can verify your pay slip in the country by asking for your tax number and searching on the finance portal and then getting your tax payments and your pay slip. But when you earn foreign income, no one knows for sure how you got the income because there's no way of verifying your income in itself. I mean, you say you earn this amount of money, but the landlord that wants to rent the house to you can't verify it. So take a case, for example, if you are in Portugal earning a Portuguese salary, the law states that if you forge your bank statement or forge your payslip or forge your tax to let the landlord get the property and give you the property, it's punishable by law. The law in the country would punish you because you committed a crime in the country's jurisdiction. But in the case where you earn foreign income, the landlord can't verify anything. So what happens is that you need to get your IRS, which you don't have for last year, and they keep asking you for your IRS, or they ask you for your payslip, and then they say your company is where it's in the US. You're like, oh, your company is in the US. I'm sorry. Do you have a Portuguese job? You say no. What you realize is that their fear is they can't verify what you've given them. And because Portuguese law favors the tenants really well, if they rent their house to you, they can't kick you out so easily if you default on rent. So they are extra careful with giving their house to someone that earns foreign income. So what I learned was that you need to offer something more, you need to offer more rent as a guarantee that you would pay because they can't verify anything for your income. You need to offer more rent or more security deposits as guarantee for the landlord. So that is it for navigating getting accommodation in Portugal as a digital nomad. If you earn Portuguese income, it's extremely straightforward. You give them your contract, they verify it on the finance portal, and then everything is really good. But once you earn foreign income, they can't verify it. Think of it from the landlord's point of view. It doesn't know you from anywhere, and you say, "Oh, I earn X amount of money from a US company he has never heard of in his life," and they can't. They will prefer to give someone who earns money in the country, who they are sure can pay. So you need to maybe offer some more money or offer such more security deposit for getting a place. So that's the first thing for navigating accommodation for myself in Portugal. The next thing I observed after accommodation was getting my social security number. So it's called NISS or NIS, but it's a number for social security such that everybody co-pays to it. If you lose your job, they give you benefits. If you have kids, they give you benefits, but everyone must have it. Applying for it as a digital nomad was tricky because I did not have a Portuguese work contract. So what I observed was that the system had not fully integrated digital nomads as people in the workforce in Portugal. So you would apply for it and then you get rejected. That, oh, your document is this, your document is that, it's not stamped properly, it's not this. Because it's harder for you to use a document from outside the country to apply for something in the country. It's an inefficiency issue, if you ask me, right? But about a month ago, I noticed that they have improved their system. They have one specific for digital nomads where you can apply and get a response quickly. But from my experience, I had to apply 3 times to get a positive response. I iterated on the application, I applied again, and that took me like 6 weeks to get a response because you apply, it takes 2 weeks sometimes to get a response. You apply, it could take 2 weeks, you apply, it could take 2 weeks to get a response. So for those applications, if you do it yourself, it takes a bit more time. That's for social security. Next one would be accommodation sorted, would be healthcare in Portugal. So a very interesting development right now was that they changed the policy around December last year. So if your card is not out, you I don't I then you don't have insurance, you are typically uninsured, right? So you'll be treated as an uninsured person. Before, once you have your visa in Portugal and you get injured before your card comes out, they cover everything because technically you are legally in the country. But with the new policy change, up until you get your card now, you have to pay full sum at the hospital, or you need to get an insurance, a private insurance to handle that. So bearing in mind is that because of the space between applying, getting to Portugal in January and my appointment in May, I had an accident in that time period. It's a 5 month period. I had an accident in that time. and I had to pay at the hospital by cash. I had to pay over and over again for everything. It was surprising for me because people told me that prior to this, once you're in the country legally, everything is taken care of for you. But the cool thing is, once your card is out, the health system is pretty good. Everything will be taken care of for you if you go to a government hospital. Insurance is also not very expensive, but they would also require you to co-pay an amount if you want to go to a private hospital. So I've gone over also navigating the Portuguese health system in that period before getting your residence card, right? That period is, I would say, it's was surprising for me because I expected that I had been here already legally. They failed in their duty to get me a residence card in that time frame. In that time frame, anything can happen, right? And well, the worst of it happened. I had an accident and I had to pay by myself for everything. So that's also about navigating Portugal as a digital nomad in the space between you coming and you getting your residence card. The other thing that happened was, bearing in mind, because of the immigration backlog, my appointment for May was moved to July because apparently it was too tight then. They had to move it by 2 extra months again. So I'm saying this for you to be aware of something that happened. You will probably will not find it online, but they move appointments to sometimes a month or 2 months forward. Maybe, maybe due to some changes in their system, they need to upgrade, and then you need to go and then they schedule you for a different month. That also happened to me. I had my appointment moved to 2 months. So I got here in January and got my appointment for July now. That's now 7 months. So that's a different thing that also happened, right? That you also would not find online. So that is about mostly about navigating in Portugal as a digital nomad in the current system of the immigration crisis in the country, right? My friends that came 2 years before had a fantastic time. Your card comes out in 2 weeks. Once you land in January, by end of January, your card is out. But we have had to wait for 7 months. But now, luckily for everyone, is they are currently overhauling the system right now, and things are faster than before. So I'm thinking in a year's time, things should return back to how it was 2 years ago, right? So that's about my experience. So from there, you can see some of the cons of moving to Portugal, right? Immigration, bureaucracy, some very slow systems. It's also quite manual. You need to carry papers to offices, right? And submit. So you are from Nigeria. Oh, I'm moving to Europe. No, you still need to carry papers. I'm sorry, but you still need to write. And then the language barrier is also one thing. So Portugal is a country of 10 million people. A large population of the country is really old. So when you go to the offices, you meet old people in the offices because they make up a large chunk of the country, which is why they're looking for digital nomads to come into the country. Portuguese people have a very high life expectancy, 85. They live really long. So when you go to the offices, you meet really old people. Then comes the communication barrier problem. So you either need to speak some Portuguese or take a translator or take a friend or ask them to bring someone that speaks English. Most of the time in the office, someone will speak English and can help you with it. But it also was my observation about moving to Portugal because it's a country that has lots of old people. People that are old are actually in the civil service. Because they are old, things also are a bit slower. They take their time, which is expected. So now back to the pros of Portugal. Portugal, as I mentioned, is very family oriented. In my opinion, things are really slow paced. So if you want a place where you're not under pressure to rush, you would love Portugal. If you want to be in a country where everyone enjoys life, you would love Portugal. They don't play with their lunch break. I've not seen anyone that doesn't go on lunch break in the country. The lunch break maybe 1 hour, 30 minutes. They leave and go on lunch break, and then they come back after. So when it comes to work-life balance, I think it's really great in Portugal. If you're looking for a place where everyone is really enjoying the beautiful things of life, is taking time to spend time with family, go to the park with kids, travel on the trip with friends, and actually build friendships. Portugal, in my opinion, is very family oriented and also very friendly in that aspect. It's not extremely fast paced. You would not, it's not like New York where everyone is hustling and bustling. It's more slow paced. So you get time to navigate things more slowly. That's a pro about the country. I already mentioned some other pros before: the weather, friendly people. They have a good black population in Lisbon and in other cities, right? The other pro is that if you're in Portugal, it gives you access to the European Union. So you can travel to the Schengen area and go and move around. So it's never a case of, oh, there's a conference in Berlin we need to go to, and then you need to apply for a visa and then you need to fly. All you just do is pick your ticket, take your card, and travel, right? So it gives you access to the Schengen area. If you're doing business and you need to go and meet an investor in France, you don't need to apply for a visa, you just need to travel with your Portuguese residence card. The card gives you access to other countries in the EU for 90 days consecutively. And I think you need to return to Portugal and then refresh and then go 90 days again. But for that, I would let you verify that information yourself. The second pro is that for digital nomad visa in other countries, they never have a pathway to citizenship. Malta doesn't. I think they don't have in Romania. They also don't have the same pathway in Estonia. But Portugal wants you to stay. So they have a clear pathway to citizenship in Portugal as a digital nomad. Other countries you might find don't have that pathway. But Portugal wants you to bring your money and stay and build a family in the country. So they have a very clear pathway to citizenship, right? As compared to maybe Malta, which would renew, but you don't have a pathway to citizenship. And I think for Croatia too, or other ones, you can check online. You can also ask ChatGPT to do deep research for you and compare. But Portugal gives pathway to citizenship, which is a very, very great one. Another pro about the country beyond the weather, the food. I like the food. The food is really good. They eat things we have in Nigeria, you typically find it here, right? Because they have also a very large Brazilian population in Portugal, and we eat similar things, right? So it's never a case of you need to really go so far to find African delicacy. There's always a store around selling things you would eat. You don't have to go to a specific African store to find plantain. No, you find plantain at most shops in your area. You don't have to travel really far to find cassava or like gari. You find them at supermarkets. In the Every supermarket has these things. You don't have to go really far to find curry or to find palm oil. You'll find banga, even banga tin. You will find it in major stores in the country. That was really surprising for me. My other friends would have to go to an African store to buy plantain or to buy banga or things like that. In Portugal, you find them at large supermarkets. So that's another con for being in Portugal for me, access to the food you want to eat, right? So overall, I've gone over my journey in Portugal, pros of coming to Portugal, the cons of coming to Portugal. My idea was to give you a balanced view of the system, right? The good parts and then the not so good parts. So you are fully informed if you choose to come to Portugal, right? So I hope I gave a really balanced view
Fantastic balance,
of,
really.
yeah.
Fantastic balance, and you did a fantastic job of just sharing about that journey. But I'm very sure that the emigrate community and our audience here, I'm sure that you have questions, and they have quite a number of questions for you. We do have a number of questions from the community already as well that we will start with, and I'm so sure that there's so many questions. I saw someone saying they came late and then they want us to go over what we've been saying for over 1.5 hours or 1 hour, 15 minutes already. We won't be able to do that, but the good news is you can get access to the recording on the Emigrate Tech Visa app. And so if you have the app, you would have access to the recording after this session. And so you can watch the recording to get the gist that you missed. And I dare tell you that you missed a lot because there's been a thorough drill down as to the journey towards the digital nomad visa, including what you need to do towards applying, what you need to do when applying, when you move to Portugal, and so on. So there's been a lot that has been shared already. But let's drill down now. We've talked about the language barrier question and all, but maybe we should just re-emphasize again who qualifies for the Portugal Digital Nomad Visa. And I know one of the key gates is high income and from outside of Portugal. Seunfunmi, could you just re-emphasize that in terms of the income? 4 times the minimum wage in Portugal. At the moment, it's around 3,480 euros or thereabout. But Seunfunmi, do you want to just do a bit more emphasis on that in terms of the requirement? What are the key requirements that these talents have to meet to qualify for this visa as their gateway to Europe from, and we do have audience from outside of Africa. We have audience from Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya. In Africa, we have a significant community now in India, Pakistan, in Asia. And interestingly, we saw a significant interest from America, North America, United States of America, as regards today's edition of Emigrate Open Day. And so that was really interesting. But do you want to share a bit more around the requirement? What must I meet to qualify as a Portugal digital nomad?
Okay, thank you very much, Buddy. So for this, you need 4 times the Portuguese minimum wage. Currently, it is 870 euros multiplied by 4. Extra caveat is currently the US dollar is performing poorly against the euro. So you need to convert from the USD to euros and then do the calculation yourself. That's the first one. For Nigerians specifically, you don't need a tax ID in Portugal. You just need nothing. You don't need a tax ID because what I've learned is that the requirements vary from country to country. And for Nigeria, it's even easier, which was very surprising for me. You don't need a tax ID in Portugal. You don't need a house contract to apply for this visa. What you need is 4 times the minimum wage, 3 months of pay slip, your bank statement for 3 months, showing 3 months of your end of the minimum of 3 months of 3 times 4, right? So 3480 times 3, thereabouts in your bank account because you've been earning that amount, you should have savings, right? And then also your police character, which you can get from your police website, which is really straightforward. It's fully digitized. I'm not doing promo for the Nigerian police, but truthfully, it was efficient. It took me 3 days to get my police character. All I did was go online, pay, and I got a message to come the next week on a Monday. Did my biometrics, and I got a response on a Tuesday. Or yeah, it was really efficient, right? So for next thing is your work contract also submitted, and then I'd mentioned your pay slip already, and your hotel or accommodation that must be more than 31 days. Could be Airbnb booking, and for your Airbnb bookings, you don't have to pay yet until after. You can choose to cancel. This is also part of it. You don't need to pay for your hotel booking. You can book the hotel itself. Some of them give you access to not pay yet. And then you book the hotel and then submit to the embassy. And then you also have your flight booking. So not your flight ticket, but your flight booking. Your flight booking should cost, I think, around $10 for some to help you hold the flight, right? Extra thing is that For your flight booking, you should do your flight booking a day before your appointment because it must be valid on the day you apply. You know, the airlines hold your flight booking for 3 days for you, right? So what they do is for your not booking, actually reservation, you can hold the flight for 3 days. So the trick is to reserve the flight, not pay, but reserve it a day before your appointment. So day one is a day before, day two is your appointment date, day three after you're done. Once you drop your documents and it's still valid, you're good to go. Your work contract and letter from your employer stating that you work for them and specifically that you can work remotely for them from Portugal. So that letter must carry that particular statement, which is also very surprising. That, oh, this person works for us, earns this per month with this passport number, and he or she can work from Portugal, remotely for us from Portugal. That letter must carry that particular statement. If it doesn't, the embassy will reply you and say you need to verify, and then you need to send the letter to the embassy that you can work for your company from Portugal. So that's the extra thing you also need to do. And then you go for your VFS appointment. So for Portugal, currently, VFS handles the immigration for them. So you need to get your appointment and then go to VFS. The extra thing I failed to mention was for your police character, you need to send it to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for authentication. Then that's what you would take to the appointment with you and submit. They would send everything to the embassy and then you get a response. Extra thing is when you get the visa, that police report that was given to you, the embassy would also notarize it and sign it. You must keep it safe and bring it with you to Portugal because you would still need it in Portugal for your appointment. Right, so that's an extra thing you also need to do. So that is for the D8 visa. For D7 visa, I did not apply for it, but you must prove passive income that can sustain you in the country. You must prove passive income that gives you 870 euros per month, which is the minimum wage, and could be through your stock dividends, could be through your business that runs and gives you that amount of money every month, could be through anything. Your business would be able to survive without you in Nigeria, right? So you could also, it has to be a business that can survive without you in Nigeria. Maybe you have a manager that runs it, and your business earns you that amount of money. The idea is that that money can sustain you in the country because the minimum wage is the minimum amount of money you need to live a life in the country. It takes care of your accommodation, should take care of food, should take care of transportation, should take care of all those basic things. Healthcare is free once you have your card in Portugal, so you don't need to pay for that, right? So that is for the D7 passive income visa. But for the D8, I've listed all the requirements for you and all the important things you need to verify, all the important things you need to do. Don't forget, letter from your employer stating that you can work for them from Portugal. It's extremely important. Your pay slip for 3 months, as I checked last, is still the same 3 months. 3 months of your salary statement from your bank account or anywhere. If you're a contractor, you could print your deal statement to also show inflow and outflow. You could also print your Naira account to just show how you spend. But requirements are those things that I've listed already.
Yeah.
And then you submit it. Extra thing is your statement must be very recent. So you don't want to print one from, let's say, last week and then come for an appointment on Friday. They would say it's no longer valid. They want something in 3 months. So you could print a day before your appointment and 3 months back. If you want to go the extra length, you can tell your bank to stamp and sign your bank statement to show that it is not been tampered with and that it is actually a legal document. And then you submit those documents to VFS. And then they send it to the embassy and then you get a response. And typically 6 weeks. Know someone that got in 3 weeks. Not people that have gotten in 3 months too because of the current vacation from the embassy, right?
Yeah. Before we switch to speak to beginners, let's talk to people in North America, Americans that are on this session, and also those that are watching the replay video, which is what is the requirement for them? And do you have any thoughts as to one of those requirements is the accommodation, the lease, for example, do you have any thoughts to how people not yet in Portugal, maybe not in Nigeria now, but in America, in the UK, looking to move to Portugal, how can they get those two requirements, the tax ID and the lease, if they are not already in Portugal? And then if there are other thoughts along those lines, just to say to the audience again, this is not immigration advice. This is not legal advice. This is just sharing from experience. You would please verify anything being shared, I mean, on this platform generally, but some of these insights may be helpful to your journey. So Seunfunmi, any thoughts there for the Americans in the room?
Okay, thank you very much, buddy. So I actually was surprised. I learned about this VFS or Portugal immigration difference when I was speaking to my American friends that I met at a networking event. For Americans, typically they fly to Portugal first because it's visa free for them, and then they open a bank account, they get the list themselves, and then they go back and apply from the US. Or what they also do is you can get your tax ID through a company. You have lots of them on the internet. You pay a sum, 100 euros, 150 euros, and then you would pay, and then they would get your tax ID as a foreigner not living in Portugal. For your list, you could also speak to an maybe a realtor and then have a meeting and then they find a house for you. But Americans that I've met, what they typically do is they travel to America to Portugal visa free. They come to Portugal, sort their accommodation out, sort their banks out, and then they go back and then they apply, which I would say was very surprising for me. The second thing is Americans love Portugal. The weather is fantastic. I mean, Europe is great. Some people move to Portugal from America because maybe they don't like the system in the US in terms of healthcare. They move here because the healthcare is really good and it's also universal healthcare, which means that it is free for everyone, right? So at least that specifically has been a reason why people would move from the US as a country to Portugal. Some also move because of the weather, because it's more favorable all year round. You can always catch somewhere warm in Portugal. If it's during winter and you go down south, it's also very warm, right? So even I stay in Lisbon, which is at the center part of Portugal. If you go down south during winter to, let's say, Faro or Lagos, like Lagos, we also have the same thing, right? I mean, Portuguese people named Lagos in Nigeria. If you go down south, it's also very warm. So you can always catch the warmth every time, and it's also not humid. It doesn't have the high humidity of Florida, for example. You could say, well, let's go to the Keys, let's go to Florida for summer or something. It's warmer there. But Florida is very humid. So Americans also tend to come to Portugal because it's less, I mean, manageable humidity compared to Florida. And it's also really warm. Also because of the expat life. If you have American money and you come to Portugal, I mean,
You live like a king, don't you?
you definitely will live like a king, right? You live like a king. Yes, you definitely will live like a king. If you have a US job that pays you really good, your salary goes a long way in the US. It goes far longer. It goes a longer way in Portugal, right? So sometimes they also prefer to move based on those reasons. Also, sadly, would be maybe security in the US. So people don't like things, they want to move to Europe where they have stricter gun controls. I spoke to someone that moves solely because of that, right? They want something with stricter gun controls, right? But for the American audience, typically you can speak to a realtor, you can get your tax ID from online servicing firms. You can also travel visa free, check out the country yourself, which I really, really advise, right? If you have access to travel, see the country for yourself. Do I really like it? Do I not like it? Can I stay here long term? Do I want to stay here for 1 year? When you have that opinion and you say, okay, I'm back to the US, now I've packed all my bags and then I'm back to Portugal, right? So for Americans, there's access for you, visa free, I think 90 days, and then you can always go back.
and come back as well. We'll talk about the long-term plan in a moment, but let's talk to beginners in the room because we do have some of them. With the digital nomad visa, it's one of the ones we categorize for advanced people, for expats, because you need to be earning a high salary before you can get access to the digital nomad visa. If you calculate the 3,480 euros that you need to be earning, some people wouldn't earn that from their own economy, some, and a number of people that would earn that probably are working remotely. I'm talking about specifically now Nigeria and Ghana and so on. But then there are people who are running businesses that is generating that much money for them on a monthly basis that they may be interested in. But let's talk to beginners in the room. They've just started their journey in tech. They are building towards these types of talent visas. And I know that your journey in tech was, I mean, over a number of years ago, but it's still fresh. What
Yeah.
are some tips that you can give someone starting their journey in tech today so that within the shortest possible time, it may be 1 year, it may be 2 years, but they would be able to start earning some of those high income and possibly qualify for some of these visas. So what would you say to those absolute beginner just starting journey in tech? AI is disrupting tech as well at the moment. What are some thoughts that you have for them to optimize their journey towards qualifying soon? And I would just say to the audience again, if you have questions, now is the time to drop them. We're taking as many questions as possible as we are now on the final leg of today's Emigrate Open Day.
Okay, thank you very much, Buddy. So, for everyone starting a career in tech, I think I'll give the same advice I also received and also some experience from my end, right? So, the first thing is, I mean, at I'm an average person, I'm not super intelligent, right? That's the truth, right? So, for me in tech, the first thing was I started and then I stopped, right? And then I tried a little bit more and then I stopped. But what I discovered was that the moment I started and I spent 1 month doing it every day, learning Python initially every day, I saw that I had improved. So it was first thing is consistency, right? You do it every day. You don't do it 2 times a week. You do it every day. You set a goal of 1 hour per day to learn how to write code. You learn how to write code 1 hour per day. You set a lofty goal of 3 hours per day. You do 3 hours per day every single day. The truth is, consistency, discipline really yields results. I don't have a background in software engineering. I studied petroleum engineering in university. Petroleum engineering, it is so far away from software engineering. The only thing I did in uni then was write Fortran for like 3 months, right? And what really pushed me to tech was I was looking for an avenue to build a life or a career for myself, right? I had seen that somewhat the field itself was not going to give me what I wanted, right? It's the reality on ground. I did not see a career prospect in it that much. And then I saw that tech, for example, from my friend in uni, he was in year two, then started as a software engineer. I saw that he was building a career for himself. He basically pushed all of us. We want what our friend has because now he has a job. He can take care of his expenses. He's building a career. He's going for conferences. We also want the same thing for ourselves. Ah, how did you do it? Oh, I did it this way. Then I also followed suit. But the truth is that consistency is very important. It's extremely difficult because you are not taught in it. It's not a course you study in university. It's plain, it's new to you. Accepted, you would feel extremely dumb. It's normal. It's for every new thing you want to learn. You will feel extremely dumb because you don't know it. But what I can assure you is that when you put your mind to something for 1 month, for 3 months, you will understand it. My eureka moment happened for me personally when I was trying to learn how to write code. I was reading a book about writing Python. It was really hard to understand. Then a friend told me to go ahead and watch a course on Coursera. It was free. I did not. I mean, we were building careers. You did not really have so much money. We're looking for free courses. Financially from Coursera, we applied. I applied. I got it, and I was just going through the course bit by bit. And then after like a month of going through the course, the same book that was extremely hard to understand, I opened it and then I was like, what? Everything just came to me because the guy from the course had explained everything. And what the book gave me, I could understand every single thing. Second important part I would say is to learn what kind of learner you are. Tech made me discover what kind of learner I actually am. I was confused. People used to recommend books to me initially. Apparently, I learned first concepts through videos. If I want to learn anything new and you give me a book to read, I would not understand it. If I need to learn about Redis, I'll watch a video, do course appreciation, history of Redis, and build something and then read a book to deepen my knowledge. Might be the same for you. If you don't, if you are finding it hard to understand when someone gives you a book to read about writing JavaScript, try a video. You might just be like me that understands things more through videos, right? So try the video too. Next thing I would also say is to try many things. If you are in a university, for example, try Python, you don't like it, try JavaScript, you don't like it. And the moment you find the one you like, you will stick with it because it comes to you as a more interesting language. And if you don't like Python and you like product management, focus on it. Whatever comes to you naturally is what you also put effort into. Some people tried JavaScript and wrote front end and did not like it. Try backend. Try Golang. If you do like it, continue with it. An extra advice would be based on the Nigerian market. I would say you should pick tools that are more in vogue in the sense that you would not learn OCaml or you would not learn a language like Rust as a beginner. You want something that can help you build experience. Because the truth is, beyond learning to code yourself, true learning comes from you building things for users, even if it's 10 users.
Hmm.
So you would typically advise from me would be to learn a language that is in vogue. JavaScript is what I advise. Front end React, back end Node and Express. Most companies use it. Most companies use it. I would not say learn Rust or learn OCaml or go and learn, let's say, one really obscure language. Learn the ones that are currently available in your market because the true learning comes from you working on production ready software. Might be 10 users, you've learned how to write code, you built some applications yourself. When they give you a job to do, you also don't know how to do the job. It's your first job. You also are clueless, right? In my first job, I knew nothing. It was also very funny. I knew nothing. Apparently, I figured knew something. Then I discovered that I knew nothing. And then I learned because it was production ready code, you must really write it well. You must take care of security. Then you can Google how security works. And in the era of AI, with LLMs, they can really teach you at a pace that you understand. You take something on a concept, or I want to understand ACID, or I want to understand how, let's say, Oyster works in JavaScript. Explain it to me like I'm five. It explains to you like you're five. Oh, I understand this. Explain to me like I'm 10. Do you mean this? When I do this, is this correct? So I would say embrace using LLMs to learn. I use them a lot to learn. I ask it, if you check my chat history, it's really, really basic things sometimes, asking it beginner questions. Because the truth is,
Replacement to Stack Overflow, right?
yeah, right? I mean, Stack Overflow, I still use it, but for learning concepts that I need to really understand, I ask ChatGPT, or you ask Anthropic, or you ask Claude or something. But you should also use it as a tool because you're also learning in tech, and sometimes there's this lack of mentorship. You can also use it as a senior engineer to review your code, critique this code for me, suggest how I can improve it, explain how I should improve it. Oh, I'm done improving it. Is it proper? Does it follow production ready software? Give me a checklist. it critiques your code for you. Oh, for example, this server you wrote is not secure. Don't store cookies this way, store it this way. So I would say should embrace AI a lot. Not to write, I would say as a beginner, not to write code for you, because the truth is that the craft is built by putting your hands to work.
Mm.
But to explain concepts to you, to review code for you, but not to write code for you initially. You really need to build your muscle in it, right? You really need to make mistakes, fix bugs, which is really what software engineering is about, fixing bugs most of the time, right?
Mm.
So I would say use AI tools for writing code as a beginner, maybe not so much, but for helping you improve, grow, really, really great.
Fantastic. Before we go back to the experts in the room, back to Digital Nomad Visa, could you share a bit to the intermediate people who are trying to find remote roles in the US and some of the high-paying countries from their home economy? This seems to be one of the steps, particularly for software developers, for them to be able to land the opportunity of the Digital Nomad Visa. They need to get to that high income, and sometimes they may be underpaid in their current role or in the current economy, and then they are looking for roles. Some of them have been applying, nobody's getting back to them. Some of them have done different things. Well, maybe they didn't really look at Portugal specifically until today, but do you have some tips in terms of being able to find remote roles at this point? I know that some things have changed in the landscape, but then any tips to people who are looking from their home economy for remote roles, not just software developers, it could be product managers, it could be other aspects of tech, but then any thoughts for them?
Okay, thank you very much, buddy. So I'll start with this. The truth is, getting a tech role from Nigeria for a foreign company is harder than it used to be before. So I'll draw a parallel for you, or draw a parallel for you. COVID came. After COVID, companies were really recruiting for people. They were finding engineers in Nigeria and relocating them. They were also finding lots of people to work for them remotely. 2 years after COVID was the same thing. Then by 2024, remote roles closed. What you'll find now would be US remote, European remote, and then they ask you, "Oh, are you currently in Europe?" You say no. You say, "Oh, I'm sorry, we can't employ you." Right? It's currently the reality as it stands. But the truth is also that these roles that I hire remotely still exist. The problem is now finding them and applying. So I would say first and foremost is that applying for jobs to me is a numbers game such that you need to apply specifically to lots of companies to get interviews. It's not applying to one company. You need to apply to lots of companies. You also need to know if the career path you're trying to build is in one of these two parts. If you're targeting Fang and the rest, Facebook, Amazon, the rest, you just need to go and grind, lead code, and learn system design. If not, you will need to build projects and actually apply for lots of jobs. You go to Y Combinator for YC just finished raising money for a new batch, YC Winter Batch 25. Once they release that list, you go through the companies and send cold mails to all the CEOs. What I used to do was to also set up an email tracker on my email that would show me who opened my mail that I sent, when they opened it, and then I could also track if I got a response. So for now would also be checking things like that. YC, once they raise, you go there and find people to work with. You send your CV, your portfolio if you have one. You send a pitch to them. So not what you do, but what problems you have solved and what problems you can solve for them. I've seen friends go the extra mile of building small POCs for these companies. I also did it, and it got me really far in the interview stage. I had an interview with the CEO and I built a small POC. He was blown away. He loved it so much that he moved into the next stage immediately. He called me and said, "Do you want the next stage?" And I was like, wow. All because I built a small POC. It was a very small POC, which explained something very, really little. But it showed that I put more effort than other applicants into the application, right? So for people that are currently at intermediate level in tech looking for foreign roles, it's harder than it used to be before. That's the truth. But it's also that you need to check all these websites. Why see I say it specifically, go to LinkedIn, look for small companies and cold mail the CTO, cold message the CTO, write your pitch about what problems you have solved and what problems you can solve for them. And if they give you an interview, then you have to prove yourself there. Interview prep is always really, really funny. Is that you improve first on on your first recruiter call, you get that sorted, you improve on the technical part, you get that sorted, you then improve on your behavioral interview because they all test different parts. But my advice would be the same, would be to apply, search for companies on LinkedIn. I also use Google search. I use Google search for finding roles actually because LinkedIn search to me is broken. So I use Boolean search on Google. I have some short URLs. I have sites, greenhouse.io, codes, AI engineer, remote, US would bring me all the roles and I apply to them. I go to LinkedIn, I DM the CTO, I go to Apollo, I pick their official mail from there, and I send them a cold mail, and I use my email tracker to also track the opening of the mails, right? It's more successful than applying to all the roles you find, making it more focused and sending pitches to them. I believe it has far more success than just throwing your application. It's harder, but as they say, finding a job is also a job, right? And I've done it several times. My friends and I, we did it several times. We applied so much on LinkedIn that we didn't see new jobs for like a week because we had applied so much, right? But it's the reality of things, and yeah.
Well done. We're coming towards the end of today's edition of Emigrate Open Day. Seunfunmi, I'll just let you rest your voice a bit. I still have a few questions from the community, particularly in terms of some of the longer term ones. Pathway to settlement. For some people, they still consider Portugal an intermediate step in their journey. They are still targeting the UK, US, Canada. That's where they are still targeting. What would you advise them? Those are some of the additional questions we'll be asking. And for our community, I would just say if you have questions, please drop them in the chat. We are coming towards the end of today's edition of Emigrate Open Day. Also, give feedback. Let us know, has this been useful so far? Seunfunmi still has a few more thoughts to share, but what you've heard so far, has it been useful? I've seen some comments in the chat that we've dealt with extensively, and so we won't be taking those questions again. But if you have additional questions, please share them. So somebody is asking, apart from the required income of D8, what's the major difference between D7 and D8? So D7 is more around passive income. D8 is more around active income, and you can check online for a bit more details or on that. And Seunfunmi actually shared a bit of information on that earlier. Somebody's asking that can they just have block income? Must they have recurrent income in terms of a monthly income? I believe that's required for the D8. For the D7, you have to show that your money is working for you or you've got passive income, i.e., whatever you do, you are able to make that 800 and something euros and so on. There's a question around translation that I would like you to take, Sean, for me when we come back. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share a few more slides about Emigrate. And then when we come back, Sean, for me will be mopping up some of these questions that we haven't yet answered. And then if there are more questions in the chat, we will take them. And we would also be taking final words. And also, as I said at the beginning of this session, if you wait till the end, we will be sharing with you a gift, and we will share the gift with you when we come back from these few additional slides I'm just going to be sharing as regards the Emigrate platform. And we've been speaking around exploring the Portugal Digital Nomad as a step to go global. And Seunfunmi, our coach today, has shared a lot from his own experience and also given a bunch of tips that you should know about. And Emigrate Tech Visa is where you want to go to if you want to also get access to one-to-one conversations with coaches on the Emigrate platform as regards this visa pathway and many other pathways to the UK, US, Canada, France. This is the platform where you want to do so. We mentioned that we do have options of our free plan, which gives you access to education such as today. It gives you access to the community, to templates and so on. You get access to all of these, not just when you are applying for the visa, but also when you do get the visa and you are looking to relocate. Seunfunmi, for example, spoke about how he just got to Portugal and he got there by himself and wished that he had somebody, a body that could actually handle him through that journey of integrating into the Portuguese environment. Some of these are offers that are available on the Emigrate platform because it's your companion to that journey. And you also get access to the Emigrate community available on WhatsApp, Telegram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. And we encourage you to engage, like, share, comment, and give and talk about what you're doing. Emigrate Tech Visa is your personal guide to tech to talent mobility, relocation, and settlement. And so if you're thinking about starting this journey or you're already on this journey, this is the platform that you want to get access to. And you get access to coaching sessions, open coaching sessions, premium group coaching session, and also one-to-one coaching sessions, aside from all the other things available on the Emigrate platform. We do run a referral scheme where you are able to give members of your friends, people in your circle, £35 towards their relocation and settlement journey on the platform. When they unlock the benefit, you also get £35 on the same platform that would apply towards your journey as well. So if you are not actively using the Emigrate app, you should be. If you get 7 days streak at the moment, you do unlock a gift as well. So there's a lot there that is available free of charge. And Emigrate AI is what we are building, an AI first platform that would support your entire journey step by step, from understanding the requirements to building out a plan, a roadmap for you to qualify over a period of time, to guiding you step by step in that journey, day by day, to say, even if it will take me 6 months for me to qualify, what must I do today so that I can qualify in that 6 months, not 6 months plus 1 day because I missed a day. Being able to guide you through what you need to do towards your pathway to relocation and settlement, getting instant insight as immigration policy changes, and that needs to adjust your pathway. All of that done on the Emigrate platform. Emigrate also brings a strong ecosystem of partners that will help your journey. Emigrate doesn't only focus on the visa stage, we actually focus on the entire life cycle of your journey, starting from you preparing, beginner, you haven't really done anything at all in the field of technology, to building a roadmap. And we recommend that you have a roadmap for yourself. These sessions today would have given you some insight, but then there are several other sessions on the platform that can help you if you are doing your own roadmap and building it yourself. Or if you want access to some of our premium options to help you with a roadmap, you can book that on the platform, and that can help your journey towards being qualified. But then as you are building that journey and becoming qualified, the platform would also support you towards qualifying. And when you are qualified, you will need to navigate the application process and the endorsement process, all of these managed in one centralized platform. And when you do get endorsed, you will need to manage the relocation process, getting the visa. When you get the visa, getting on a plane, getting what do you need to do for renting an apartment, all of those kind of things. Emigrate supports you on that. Up to the integration journey, you have now landed. How do you open a bank account? How do you get your tax ID? How do you do all of the things that you need to do to truly integrate into this new economy? And then over a period of time, how do you get to settlement within the shortest possible time? Settlement being permanent residency, settlement being a citizen of this jurisdiction over a period of time, and also what they currently call reverse migration, which is really migration by itself, moving to a third country, moving back to your own country. We're at a higher level now. All of these managed on one centralized platform. That is what we have built. That is what we continue building on the Emigrate platform. And we are fundraising investment to continue to build this platform. If you're interested, you can let us know. Send us a message. We can give you more details on that. And we bring an ecosystem of partners to support that journey. So starting with information training, boot camps, talent development, lawyers, immigration consultants, financing option if you're looking for financing to help with this journey, HR recruiters if you're trying to find a job, to executive search, policy makers, advertisers, all of them in one centralized platform, which is your guide and it's your platform towards relocation, talent mobility, and settlement. One of our partners, and in fact, the incubator for Emigrate, is Bincom Dev Center that brings together tech talent development in one place, which is building tech talent, building tech startups, and enhancing tech talents. One of those services within Bincom Dev Center is the Labs by Bincom platform. And Labs by Bincom program, apologies, not platform. The program helps with you becoming a startup founder. With Labs by Bincom, it brings you together with 3 to 10 other people who are interested in building a startup over a 3 to 6 months journey. What you would need to do is to create a startup from scratch. That startup will need to have real life users. Our coach today was talking about that to say, if you're an absolute beginner, you want to make sure that you are building production ready solutions. This may be your opportunity to do so. With Labs by Bincom, you start building a portfolio, you start building a startup. The startup is auditable, the startup will have real life users, and you can continue growing that startup. It serves as learning opportunity for you to improve your career. It serves as a portfolio for you. It serves as practical show of your abilities. And so if you're interested in that, you can go to bincom.net/labs, or you can send a message to the Emigrate platform and they will be sure to refer you. Referring you from the Emigrate platform will give you a discount. And so if you just let them know or you get referred through the platform, you will get a discount for this particular service. This may be a slide you want to take a screenshot of because this gives a quick lay of the land. We've categorized some of these visas as startup visa, talent-based visa, work and employment-based visa, temporary stroke digital nomad visa, and then others, usually investment-based, but others generally speaking. There are multiple digital nomad visas from many parts of the world. Malta, on the Emigrate platform, we've shared a number of information around Malta. We've shared information about Portugal. We've shared information about different digital nomad program, even Germany, that you may be interested in having a bit of information about. All of these is available on the Emigrate platform, and that can help your journey in terms of just studying what you need to do, how you need to do it, what you need to do next, and so on. So take a screenshot of these because these are some of the visa pathways that we support on the Emigrate platform. It's not an exhaustive list of visas. It's not even an exhaustive list of tech visas. This is just to give you an idea of the lay of the land of different aspects that you may want to look at and be targeting. And all of these visas have the same common denominator. If you're globally attractive, you have options. On the Emigrate platform, our focus are usually for pathways that are pathways to settlement, whether direct pathway to settlement or indirect pathway to settlement, like the digital nomad visa. And we'll be talking about the pathway to settlement in a moment with Seunfunmi. Move with your family. We focus on pathways that enables you to move with your family, and we focus on pathways where beginners can plan. If you're an absolute beginner, there are things you can do today to optimize your chances of qualifying for this visa within the shortest possible time. And those are some of the things that you can learn and you can work with, and you can find a coach to support on the Emigrate platform. We also focus at the moment on tech routes, and we discuss in depth a number of these pathways and visa pathways on the Emigrate platform, on the Emigrate Open Day, to make sure that you get as much information as possible as members of this community towards supporting your journey. We have premium group coaching sessions. If you are subscribed on the Emigrate platform, and we have subscription plans as low as £25 a month on our premium aspect, you can get access to premium group coaching sessions for different visa pathways: the UK Global Talent Visa, the UK Innovator Founder Visa, the US O1 Visa, US EB2 NIW, several different pathways. We do have group coaching sessions that can help your journey as part of what benefits are available to you, in addition to the one-to-one sessions with human experts, in addition to access to the AI assistant, the AI agents, and so on that you get on the platform. Don't say, I don't yet qualify. If you say, I don't yet qualify, then this is what you should be doing. You should have a personalized plan for yourself. Emigrate can help you build it, but you can build it yourself too, right? If you have all of the information, you have all of the knowledge, but that is what you must do first. You need a plan, and then make sure that you are able to stick with that plan on a day-to-day basis, on a month-to-month basis, towards you being globally attractive. And these are some of the ways we can help on the Emigrate platform. Yes, so we have a number of open days upcoming, but I will just take one more slide, and it's just to say that if you need, what you should do next is download the Emigrate Tech Visa app, and that Tech Visa app will lead you to what you should be doing next in terms of with the Emigrate platform. You get access, and this is the gift that we did mention. Because you've been on this session till this time, we have a gift for you. And that gift is you get access to a short coaching session with Emigrate coaches. The short coaching session, we ask that you use this session after you've done your own research. We ask that you use this session after you have consumed all of the resources available, many of them for free on the Emigrate platform. But you need to redeem this short coaching session. How to redeem it is that you have to go on any one of the Emigrate communities, and you need to be able to say that, oh, I attended this Emigrate Open Day from the beginning till the end, till this point, and I've been told I want a short coaching session. You have to do that on the community. Please don't do that on DM, because we are not able to manage it that way. We manage this on the community. If you post that on the community, what would happen is the community manager will be able to ensure that you get additional short coaching session into your Emigrate profile, which you can book over the next anytime within the next 3 months. And so as you continue on your journey, as you use all of these resources we provided, and you need some one-to-one guidance, you get that free of charge, because you spend time on these Emigrate Open Day at this point in time. You get one free session because you registered for Emigrate Open Day, but now you get an additional short coaching session because you've been here till this point. If you redeem it, as I've explained, we are only able to offer this category of short free coaching session, one per individual. So if you've redeemed it before, only one can be unlocked on your platform at any point in time. And congratulations for those that have been here up till now. Has this been useful? Do let us know in the comments. Has this been useful? Do let us know if this is something that we should continue, because your feedback helps us to know if we are adding value, and do give us that feedback. You can give us that feedback on the chat on this call. You can give us that feedback on the comments if you're watching the replay video, and you can give us that feedback on some of the public forums where we collect our reviews and feedback, on Trustpilot, on Google Maps, and also on the App Store where you downloaded the app. You can give us the feedback. Seunfunmi, back to you now, just to say, what are your thoughts from the long-term perspective? I know that the Portugal route is one of the ones that enables settlement and enables settlement directly, unlike other digital nomad visas from different parts of Europe. They enable settlement, and interestingly, they also protect you if one were to lose their job, unlike other parts of Europe where once your income stops, they want you to go back to your home country immediately or maybe after a little while. Seunfunmi, what are your thoughts as regards settlement? Is Portugal a place to stay, or for those that are looking at the UK, US, is this something that is just a stepping stone for them to get to where their final destination is, or it could be both? What are your thoughts generally around the long-term plan for a being in Portugal?
Okay, thank you very much, Buddy. So to start with, I think for other countries that you go to, specifically if you have a work permit, if you lose your job, you have 60 working days to get a new job, or you need to leave the country, right? For Portugal, your job, your residence card isn't tied to a job, right? So because of that, you don't have to leave the country. You can stay and find a new job. There's no 60-day deadline to find a new job. And it's really surprising, but it's the truth. Once you have your residence card and you lose your job, you need to find a new job, obviously, to cater for yourself. But they don't have a requirement that you must leave the country after 60 working days. The temporary residence card gives you access to reside in Portugal for the time of your residence card validity. After you go for your renewal, if you satisfy the requirements for renewal, they renew your permit for you. So it's not a case of if you lose your job, you need to leave. So looking at the immigration options, I would say from a safety point of view, it's safer because as we all know, life has unforeseen events. Your company could be really great today, and tomorrow everyone in the company has been laid off. For Portugal, all you need to do is get a new job in the country. So since you already have your card as a digital nomad, you can also work for a Portuguese company, as I had mentioned before. So from an immigration standpoint, the system is built to actually make you stay. So it is not a pull and come to the country, spend all your money, and then we push you out of the system. They actually want you to stay long term. Second thing is as regards you losing your job. For other countries, social benefits are only available for citizens, I think. Most of the time, if I'm correct. For Portugal, it's not. If you have a job and you have kids and your job cannot take care of you, maybe they give you benefits for your kids. You have benefits for your kids. Your kids have benefits. Your kids have access to free healthcare. Transportation is also free for kids, if I'm very sure. Yes. And then extra thing is settlement for you is easier. For Portugal again is since they want you to stay, they pretty much put everything in place for you. Access to things for a citizen would also be available for you. For example, if you're below 35 and you've paid social security for 1 year and you want to get a mortgage, the law states that for residents too, you can get the mortgage at 100% with zero deposits. The government would back that for you, right? I doubt if it's the case for the UK. I think you have to pay 10% or something. In Portugal, for residents, you also get that, specifically if you are below 35. If you're below 35, they have lots of benefits for you. If you're working for a Portuguese company after you came as digital nomad, and by chance you have kids, and let's say your income can't take care of some things, they give you housing benefits like housing discount. Other countries don't do these things for temporary residents. Portugal will do it for you, right? That's one of the things that I've noticed about the system. Benefits is for everyone. It's not for as long as you've put something into the system, you follow the law, you've paid your taxes, you pay your social security. If by any chance something happens to you, you are covered. They pay you your unemployment benefit. When you get a job, you keep on contributing back to social security. So it's a system of you put into the system also gives back to you. At least I have someone I know that has a family. He mentioned, oh, they do get benefits. It works, right? But they figured you have 3 kids, you're also working, you are paying taxes, you're paying social security. Well, let's give you a discount for your accommodation. They did not apply for it. The government returns the money to them every month. They return for electricity too. They did not apply for those benefits. They have jobs, they work, but they also have kids. They figured these people are paying lots of taxes, the social security. Let's also give this back to them. I think it's something that is really unique about Portugal. For long term, they want you to stay. It's the reason why they have a clear pathway to citizenship for digital nomads. Your card would be renewed after 5 years. You apply as every other person. They don't ask you to bring your digital nomad job anymore because your renewal is not based on your visa, right? So your renewal is never based on your visa. It's not a case of you're a digital nomad, you need that digital nomad job to renew again. No. Your renewal is based on your current situation, not on what you came into the country with. So you came into Portugal, as I mentioned prior, like an hour ago. You have passion to have a food business. You're a digital nomad. Now you love to cook. You have a vibrant food business. You make money, you pay your taxes. It's that job you use to renew your residence permit. You don't have to look for a new job 1 month to your renewal and say, oh yeah, it's the job you currently have in the system you used to build it. You now sell houses in Portugal as a digital nomad. Is the business you use to start. Now you have a tech startup. It's that business you used to renew, right? So it's very different. It's that they want you to come and they also want you to stay, right? Second thing is about family reunification. You come with your family. Although currently it's a bit slow because I mentioned about the migration backlog, but for these visas, you come with your family. I could also point to master students too in Portugal. They come with their family members because the Portuguese system is such that family is a core part of your existence. Why separate you from your family, right? I could make a case for something. Most countries talk about integration, but integration comes from your mind fully being in the country. Imagine you work and you can't bring your family. Your mind is 60% in your country and 40% in the country you're currently residing in, right? But there's option for you to reunify with your family. If you don't apply with them, you can always bring them in. Currently, it is slow because of the backlog, but prior to this, it used to be faster, right? And then second part for the jobs is that in Portugal, the ecosystem is currently thriving. I would make a case for one thing. The wage in Portugal is not as high as other European countries, right? Even for software engineers, it is not as high as other European countries. But the ecosystem is good enough for the job to sustain you and your family, right? It is not as high as Germany or as Netherlands, but they pay well enough to sustain you and your family. You'll be good with the money you also earn in Portugal to build your family. It is different from earning something in a different country like Germany or Netherlands or the US.
Yeah.
Portugal is a bit different. It's not a bit different, but you can do your research and check the median income for software engineers. The truth is, for Portuguese jobs, maybe now for they've been offering better pay. Now I'm seeing people reach out with pay that is comparable to Germany for software engineering, specifically for generative AI. It's really important. It's really hot right now. Everyone wants to pay money for top talent, right? So currently for generative AI roles, they are paying more than they used to pay.
Hmm.
But generally, it is not as much as Germany. You can check it online and compare. But the idea is that it's your decision to make. You weigh all of those pros and cons. You have a family, you love the weather, your kids don't feel out of place because they have lots of black people. You have lots of foreigners. You'd see people from several countries in Portugal, and everyone is welcoming to you. Learning the language, from my experience, Portuguese is not the easiest language to learn, unfortunately. Right? It's a bit more difficult to learn, but you can always learn it. I've started learning from some Portuguese to help me navigate and also enjoy the country, right? It's also part of integrating if you have long-term plans,
Yeah.
right? And currently for Portugal, as it stands right now, the requirement for citizenship is A2 proficiency in Portuguese, which is medium beginner, A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2. Currently, it's still A2 in Portuguese, which means that if you can make conversation, you can apply and write your exam, and then you get your citizenship, right? Other countries require, I think, B2 level in Germany. Portugal requires A2 level. That's one part you can focus on too. For long-term plans, they have long-term plans for digital nomads. That is why they have a clear path to citizenship for them.
And I believe that pathway for citizenship is 5 to 6 years or thereabout for citizenship.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I mean, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so now it is 5 years, but there's been some legislation changes. It's not currently law, right? But they're looking to make it 10 years.
Oh, wow, like similar to
Yes,
Spain then.
right. For 10 years, I think it's really long, but we'll wait and see what they want to do next. There's been lots of immigration changes recently. There's been the parliament going to with new laws, the constitutional court rejecting the laws because the country has really good rule of law, right? The parliament bringing some laws on reunification. I think there's a new law they wanted to pass that when you come, you must wait 2 years to bring your family. The court said it is illegal because it is against family. It is against family ideal, right? Why wait 2 years to bring your family? So the court struck it out. So they need to go and revise that particular law specifically on family reunification, right? So rule of law is really strong. The court would always check on all of these things. If whatever new law is coming, is it good precedence? Is it bad precedence? Does it affect citizenship? Does it not affect citizenship? Does it affect you being seen as second-class citizen in the country and things like that? But currently, there's lots of immigration law policy changes in Portugal, right? So you can always check it. And as my friend would always say, the best time to immigrate was yesterday. The next best time is today,
Yeah. True,
right?
true.
But
And
currently, what is changing with the system?
wow. We've gone way over time. And so I think I'm just going to ask for the final words at this point. Just to say again to everyone, thank you for joining this edition of Emigrate Open Day. Seunfunmi, we've been talking to quite a number of people within the Emigrate community. We've talked to beginners, we've talked to intermediate, we've talked to advanced people, because this visa really is for advanced people who are already well advanced in their career. We won't really be talking to people looking to switch, but we do know that that's one of the options. But if someone is ready to apply, and I will be asking you for your final words as well, together with this, ready to apply, they are qualified already, they earn the income that at the level in which is required, and so on. You mentioned that the day you found out about this visa was the day you went to just go and apply immediately and all. But what are your thoughts to those category of people, the ready to apply, and then turn that into your final words for Emigrate community?
Okay, thank you very much, buddy. So if you satisfy all the requirements, what you need to do is go to VFS website, and then I will explain some intricacies about that or some important things about that. Currently, VFS in Nigeria releases appointment every month, and then you need to get an appointment. The issue now is, from my experience, mine was easy because I just checked and I found it that day. Typically, it's a bit difficult to get. You need to call their call center or you need to verify and get your appointment. But once you have your documents ready, the part now is to get your appointment at VFS. Their system, in my opinion, is not very great. It is a bit buggy. So you need to try and then use drop your documents, your visa, your passport, and then you pay, and then you get an invite for your appointment. From your appointment to getting, from applying for your appointment, you can give yourself 2 weeks to get your police character and all of those things. And you already have your pay slip, you already have your bank statements, you have all of those things before you need to get your VFS appointment. It's the most important one. And it's a bit hard now because of their website. I don't know if they have fixed it yet, but you need to try and try and try all over again, and then you get the appointment on the website. Once you do, you have your documents ready. You go over what I just mentioned prior to this: your 3 months bank statement, your 3 months pay slip, your letter from your employer stating that you can work for them in Portugal, your police character already taken to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for authentication and taken and then submitted with your application, and then also your hotel booking or accommodation booking. You don't have to pay, you just have to book it, and then your flight booking too. And that's about it. The requirements are really short. They're like around 6 or 7, nothing more. Last I checked, this is still the same requirements. But you can always go to the VFS website and check for D8 Visa Nigeria, Google it. You would find the form online, and you can also tick the ones you need to tick. And then after, for my closing words would be, I've gone over the visas, Portugal itself as a country, the pros and cons. You can always come around with your 4 month visa and check the country out yourself and leave if you don't want to. The visa is not, the 4 month long term visa doesn't mean you must stay. So you can use it as a visit trip, check the country, and if you love it, you can go back and bring your stuff, or you can waybill, or you can ship your belongings. Because the visa also comes with 2 entries, which means that when you come into Portugal, you can go back and come in again with that same visa. It's always a 2 entry visa. So you can come as a visit or come on a visit, sorry. And then if you love it, you can then go back and then set up your stuff and then come to Portugal. So that 4 months is also giving you time to test the country, check if you love the vibe, if you can bear with the bureaucracy, if you can't, if you love the weather, if you love the food, if you love the way of life, because Portugal's bureaucracy sometimes can be really hectic and you need to be patient, right? That's an extra part I did not mention. Beyond immigration is also quite slow for getting documents. Maybe you need to get something, you need to come in 2 days' time for something. You need to prepare your mind for the bureaucracy. Everything works, but it just takes time, right? So, for my closing remark, check more on the internet about these things. I would say Reddit is a very important place to check, because Reddit and subreddit about these things, like Portugal experts, they give detail about these visa programs very well. YouTube is also very good. If you can find interviews like this on the internet, it's also a very good resource. Not the 10 minutes videos, but one where someone shares their experience. That is really where you get the full information from, not from the 10-minute videos, but more on the long form content. Next thing would be moving to Portugal with your kids if you have, preparing them for the new language. If you don't want to enroll them in a school in Portugal for that speaks Portuguese, you have lots of international schools that you can enroll them in that speak English. You can also buy a house once you on zero payment. If you've paid 1 year of social security already, you are eligible for getting the house with zero down payments if you are below 35. So I think that's about it from me. I really love speaking to everyone. It was a great time. Thank you very much, Buddy, for having me. And then if anyone has any questions, you can ask on the YouTube channel since it's pre-recorded, and then I can always pop in and answer if I have the time.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Seunfunmi, for this. And also, I know you are no a stranger to the Emigrate platform. We're looking forward to you being able to support some of the members of the platform as well around this specific journey to Portugal if they do consider it as an option. I do know that Portugal, there are two options of the way to look at it. Some may see Portugal as a stepping stone to say, let me move from my own country. I can go somewhere in Europe and then I can use that for my stepping stone elsewhere. Similar to how some of the members of the community use Malta today for that kind of journey. Uh, at the same time, you could also see Portugal as the destination. Seunfunmi has shared to say Portugal does have a bunch of advantages, some of the ones in which you may find as maybe what you're looking for in the UK or the US, you may actually have found in Portugal and may not be looking to move elsewhere in the future. On the Emigrate platform, regardless of what your choices are, you have options. As long as you're globally attractive, you have those options. You have options of being able to go to any one of these countries and use them for your pathway to talent mobility, your pathway to relocation, your pathway to settlement. I see there were a few questions we may have missed, so I'm just going to take that. Seunfunmi, do you want to take this one around translating your documents and all?
Oh, yes, yes, yes. So for this application, you don't need to translate any document. Everything would be in English, and then the embassy would verify everything. You don't need to submit anything in a different language, right? You submit the document as is. Your payslip is in English or is in German, you give it to them in that, they verify the rest on their end, right?
Okay.
So there's no need for translating a document from one language to Portuguese, not at all.
Fantastic. Fantastic. And from Emigrate platform, we do have a number of resources to support your journey. Where you want to start is the Emigrate Tech Visa app, and then you can take the conversation from there. As regards the platform, you also get access to the Emigrate community where you can ask questions, you can get support regardless of where you are in your journey. If this has been a useful session, please give us feedback. Let us know. Let us know. Let us know. And for you individually, please do take action. You've heard a lot today, but the truth is, if you do not take action, you've just heard a lot today, and then in a few months, you may have even forgotten some of the things you've heard. In this case, one of the take home I had was the day he heard about the visa, he went on to just go apply immediately, and a few weeks later, he had gotten the visa. And so imagine going from zero, not knowing about the visa at all, to visa already issued within a few weeks. That is possible because he is globally attractive. And so many people in the immigrant community many are already qualified for some of these opportunities. They just don't know the opportunity exists. But even if you are not yet qualified, they've given you what your profile must look like. That is the question paper and answer sheet. You can work towards it. And you working towards it will start with a plan. That plan is what we're encouraging you to say, create a roadmap for yourself towards your pathway to relocation and settlement. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you for joining us at this edition of Emigrate Open Day. Seunfunmi, thank you so much for sharing your time. Thank you for being going into in-depth details of details of details. And there's a lot more there as well. We would like to know, how do we find you? Are there projects you would like the community to support that you're working on? And yes, are there things along those lines? This is being recorded on YouTube anyway, but are there things you would like to share with the community? How do we support you as a community as well? And then also, if you want to share your LinkedIn and so on.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much, Buddy. So my LinkedIn is Seunfunmi Adegoke on LinkedIn. I could share my link in the chat, the link in the chat. And then for the other parts is I'm a generative AI engineer, or I do backend and generative AI. So if you have anything interesting you're trying to build in the intersection of backend development and generative AI, you're looking at making your AI agents production ready, you're thinking about building AI focused applications, integrating LLMs, building, fine-tuning them, optimizing your prompts, building very fantastic RAGs with fantastic recall, not bad recall. You're thinking of building production-ready AI agents that actually work for your customers. You're thinking of building chat agents. You're thinking of building anything in that aspect. So what I bring is I have a very good background in software engineering or backend engineering and also in generative AI. And what you discover is that for most AI roles, you really need a strong suit in engineering or backend engineering to make them production ready. So if you have anything you're looking at building, I do consultancy too. I can help with some advisory on the side to help you map your goals, to build your first AI application in the sense that I could tell you this would not work, this would not work. You want to build, let's say, an AI agent to do something. Let's use this tool instead because it is most popular in the community. I could tell you what models to use for this use case, for this use case. I could tell you what tools to use. I could also help build them if the case may be and make them production ready.
Thank you so much, Seunfunmi, and thank you for joining us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. See you all in the community. Download the Emigrate Tech Visa app if you haven't already, and start your journey today. Thank you, and see you at the next edition of Emigrate Open Day.